Hi, my name is Barry Carroll. I'm the founder of Bike Walk Wichita Incorporated. I'm glad to be with you today.
Thanks. I'm Elijah Geegan, and I'm going to be interviewing Mr. Carroll about some of the things in his past that helped him inspire to make Bike Walk Wichita and stuff about that and about his biking career. So I guess my first question is going to be, when did you fall in love with biking?
I grew up on a farm in Kentucky, and I was probably 5 or 6, and my older siblings, had a bike, and it was way too big for me, but I learned to ride it anyway. And for me, a bicycle was freedom. I had friends up and down the road, and I'd get on my bike and I would ride to see my friends, and we'd play all day, baseball, whatever. And then I'd ride home, and it was just a great sense of freedom and fun.
That is awesome. So, when was Bike Walk Wichita founded?
It was founded in 2010, and we just celebrated our decade, to our 10th year anniversary in 2020, and it has grown way beyond what I ever dreamt of, thanks to our volunteers and our staff and our board of directors and people in the community.
Awesome. So, for the formation, you said it went way beyond what you had hoped it had gone for. What exactly were you hoping for that it exceeded your expectations?
That's a really good question. Um, what I wanted to see was a organization that promoted bicycling to the average person. You have cyclists who are racers, and they ride everywhere, and they're fearless, and they're comfortable. But I was looking for people who lived maybe in the city or the surrounding neighborhoods, communities, who thought about bicycling, but maybe were a little afraid to get out and try it. Maybe they had a bike in their garage, and so I wanted just to expand the bicycling opportunities, because I think bicycling makes everything better. Your physical health, your mental health, environmental health, community health. Um, I love bicycling, and I just wanted to share that in a way that would help our larger community.
That is awesome. So, what was your motivation to start Bike Walk Wichita?
All right, good question. Um, the Kansas Health Foundation sponsored a couple of workshops called the Outdoors and the Built Environment. And we had people from not all over Kansas, but all from the whole United States. And they would come in and they'd talk about how their communities had all these activities for cyclists and infrastructure, bike lanes, bike paths. And I was thinking, we could use that here. And then there was an individual that really was inspiring for me in Columbia, Missouri, which is not all that far away, but his name was, he was the mayor of Columbia. His name was Darwin Hinman. And as a mayor, he rode his bike to work in a suit and tie, and he rode all over to every meeting. He went in the city, he rode his bike, and he was just a big proponent of bike lanes, safety. He helped get the connect Columbia to the Katy Trail, which is a rail trail, the longest rail trail in the world at this point in Missouri. So he was just an inspiration to me, and I got to thinking, we could do this in Wichita.
Awesome. So, back to the question of when you fell in love with biking, what made you enjoy biking so much that you continue to do it for the rest of your life?
I think most bicyclists will tell the same story, that it is something that cyclists, we can go out and ride, and there's something that happens, maybe it's in our brain chemistry, but every time you ride, it's fun. It's relaxing. I think it's somewhat rhythmic. The turning of the cranks and the pedals. It kind of engages your left brain, right brain, and it's somewhat a moving meditation. And then you're out in the outdoors. You see animals, you see trees, and all kinds of beautiful things. And when my first few pedal strokes, when I'm out the door, it's all of a sudden, I can relax. This is fun. And then it's such a sense of accomplishment when you start riding, and then you gradually increase your stamina and your distance. And when I started, I was thinking 4 or 5 miles was a lot. My longest ride in the mountains of Colorado was 120 miles. It's called the Triple Bypass. I would have never imagined or dreamed I could do that. But over time, and you're riding with other people and you're inspired by other people, it's something I do and most cyclists do, and they're always glad that they've got out on a bike.
Awesome. So, do you have any other hobbies besides biking that you enjoy doing a lot?
Yes. For many years, I was a runner. I was in high school. I ran high hurdles. I ran the high hurdles and the low hurdles. So I was a runner. I went to college. I sort of got busy with school. Once I got out of college, a friend asked me to go run with him, and he was into distance, and I thought, I don't know if I want to do that. Well, we did a mile and then 2 miles, and it was like it was great. And so over time, kind of like cycling, I started doing races, 5Ks, 10Ks, half marathons, and then I did a full marathon in '83, 26 miles, 0.2. And that was great. I met so many nice people, positive people. Same way in the cycling community, pedestrians as well. Very positive people. And then now, it's kind of the same time I played tennis. Right now I play with a group. Every Monday and Wednesday we play doubles down in the Riverside Tennis Center inside the bubble during the cold weather. And it's just really fun to get out and play and compete, and always feel good about it.
Awesome. So do you think that there is a big or small difference between biking and running?
I don't think there's a lot of difference. What I've noticed is that running is rather hard on your body as you get older. And so many runners when they get older, like I did, kind of graduate into cycling, which is less pounding, but the dynamics are the same. It's you're out there in the elements. It's endurance. It requires your best effort, and I think it also changes your brain chemistry. And you talk about endorphins and just that good, positive feeling that you get when you run and or bike.
Awesome. So, did you have any goals along the way for your either personal biking, running career or for Bike Walk Wichita?
When I started running, I thought if I could run 1 mile, that would be really good. Because in high school I ran short fast distances. And as it turned out, my body was really built for endurance. Sometimes we have to figure out what our bodies are really built for. So over time, one of my goals was to do races, run in races, and a goal was to run a marathon. And in '83 I ran a marathon here in Wichita, which I put as probably my pinnacle of my running career. It was a goal that I had, and let's face it, not a lot of people can run marathons.
No, they can't.
It takes a lot of endurance, it takes a lot of courage and persistence, and there's sort of a spiritual aspect to it as well. And in biking, I've learned about different biking events. There's something called a Bike Across Kansas, and I've done that maybe 10 times, and that's fun. You ride about 60 miles a day. Start at the Colorado border, you end at the Missouri border. You meet so many positive people along the way. Now in my bicycling career, I have started doing more what I would call urban cycling, which staying mostly within the city limits of Wichita, using our own city infrastructure, our bike lanes, bike paths, and also using a bicycle as just basic transportation. What I've learned is most people's, when they drive, most of their trips are within 1 to 2 miles. So you can get on a bike, go to the grocery store, go to the hardware store, and there are times when I don't start a car for a week because I'm riding my bicycle instead of in a car, and it's fun. So that's what I enjoy.
Nice. So do you have any goals that you're currently working towards for, I guess, 2021 or just in general?
In general, I want to ride with my friends, and I've set some goals for 2021 to ride at a minimum of 3 times a week, which I think I can do. I have a friend on the east side, and we meet up on the Redbud Trail, and then we ride and talk. And so I have lots of friends that I enjoy riding with. So I don't have any big goals of a particular ride or anything like that, but just to enjoy being out with my friends and looking and learning about our city.
That is really good. So do you have any recommendations for people who are starting to get in biking or maybe are a little nervous to start biking but want to?
Yes. I would suggest a couple of things. To just basically to air up the tires on your bike that's hanging in the garage and just start riding around the block. It's the same rules as in a car. You stay on the right side, you stop at all of the intersections, and just start riding around the block. Or you can find what's likely is a bike path near your home. Bike Walk Wichita we have an education component, which we will teach a person how to ride a bike if they don't know how to ride a bike. We will teach them how to ride a bike safely. We will show them all of the right equipment. We have some group rides. We have something called a slow roll, which is generally on a Sunday once a month, and we start at different places, and it's just a family ride, and we all stay together. So I would like to see more people venture out with their friends, maybe husband and wife, and I've seen husband and wife and children. just going out as a family unit, which is always, that's exactly the vision I had for Bike Walk Wichita, is to get people out on their bikes. And what I've noticed, when people are on their bikes, they're smiling, they're laughing. Kids love it. It's great for kids to burn off that energy and to learn about where all of the infrastructure is in the community.
Awesome. So we know that you founded Bike Walk Wichita. Are there any other organizations that you're involved with?
Yes, good question. We have at least 3 that I'm aware of, maybe more. There's one of the older, I wanted to say something about the Oz Bicycle Club. They started back in the 70s and were in existence until about 5 years ago. And it was a great organization. It helped people learn to ride. And they, after a while, a lot of the volunteers, were graying out and getting older, and they decided to cease operations. So we just want to thank all of the people in the Oz Bike Club for getting me started. They were very much mentors to me starting my bicycle career. We have another organization called Prairie Travelers. Ruth Holliday and Larry Hatfield are the founders of that organization, and they're primarily build trails in Sedgwick County. They built a trail out near Goddard called the Prairie Sunset Trail, and it goes west to Garden Plain and east all the way into Wichita. There's another organization called the Andover Augusta Rail Trail Initiative, or we call it ARDI for short, and they're also building trails, and goes from Andover, and our goal is to go into Augusta. And just recently a trail was connected from the K96 trail to the Redbud Trail that goes all the way into Andover. So we have a nicer, larger connection now. There's a mountain bike group called the Single Track Society that they are interested primarily in mountain biking. And then finally, there is a group that I'm affiliated with. The city has created what's called a Wichita Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Board. And we meet every Monday at 5:30 in an effort to improve biking, walking, secure funding for additional trails. And it's open to the public, and we'd encourage people to attend. It's called the Wichita Bike Ped Advisory Board.
Awesome. So it sounds like there are quite a few organizations who are working to get trails, paths for biking safer. Do you think eventually there will be a trail or path pretty much anywhere in the city where you could walk for 5 minutes and find a trail?
I do. And one of the things the city passed back in 2013 was called a Master Bicycle Plan. And then shortly after that, they passed that's called a Master Pedestrian Plan. And the whole emphasis is connectivity, especially in the bicycle paths, is getting them linked up so that, for example, if I go 3 blocks over to just across 13th Street and get on the river path, I can go 20 miles. So I am 2 blocks from a bike path or a multi-use path. And I think it's important. Multi-use paths are not only for bicycles, but they're also for pedestrians. So technically, a multi-use path is the better name for it. But the city is working, and the county, to build more and more infrastructure and having it connected so that people can access a trail or multi-use trail very easily.
Awesome. So, as you know, in about May, March last year, COVID hit, and How do you think that affected the biking, walking, running, physical activity industry?
In a strange turn of events, COVID turned out to be a very positive thing for outdoor activities. Um, CDC and all of the recommendations for people to get outside and not to congregate indoors. And as a result, we have seen so many more people out using our bike paths or multi-use paths, pedestrians, and then the bicycle shops. They can't keep enough bicycles in. They have been selling them so fast that they were on back order. So it's been a great thing uh, in a positive way for the bicycling community, and I think uh, it's hard to say the impact it's had, but the mental health impact of just getting outside, walking, and getting outdoors, how important that is when uh, your activities are very limited now. Kind of in closing, I would like to acknowledge some of our staff and board. I'd like to acknowledge Kim Neufeld, who is our executive director, who's taken our organization to the next level with strategic planning. Alan Kaler is our board president. We have a dynamic board that guides tries to help us accomplish our mission. We have volunteers that are awesome. We keep a running list of volunteer hours, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, in 2020 we had over 5,000 volunteer hours.
Man, that's crazy.
And the great thing about the recycle division or component of that just bubbled up from the grassroots level. We had a person who found us who was from Detroit, and in Detroit they have a sort of what they call a bicycle collective, and he was able to kind of help give us our vision of what a recycle shop could look like. And we slowly got more space in our building. We just kept expanding, and then prior to that, there was a community bike shop in Old Town that was in business for a year or two, and it finally closed. But I could see the potential in a bike services for low income people or semi-homeless or homeless people, and that kind of, I think, planted the seed for how could we do that. And one of our values is equity. We want to provide services in all segments, all areas of our city, low income, high income, middle income. We want to be out there, and if people need bicycles for basic transportation to get them to work or get them around the city, that's kind of what we provide. And we sell refurbished bicycles at a very low rate, a low fee, and the sales from those bicycles have kind of sustained our organization and paid for our rent and different expenses that we have. So that has been a very pleasant surprise that really wasn't on my radar when I formed Bike Walk Wichita. But sometimes if you just gather people and listen to them, they generate great ideas. And our organization is, we're very open to innovation and suggestions, and We like to encourage younger people, teenagers, different people to, become interested in our organization. And we use extensive social media, and we have a large following now, which is exciting. So slowly, I think Bike Walk Wichita is becoming kind of a go-to organization in Wichita. Our elected officials have all come to our building and done blogs, and we've made good positive relationship with the city council, and also the Sedgwick County commissioners and city and county staff. So I couldn't be more pleased with how things are going, and I'd just like to thank everybody who's joined our movement. And I think we are effecting a cultural shift or cultural change in our community, which promotes active transportation, whether biking, walking, skateboarding, running, just getting people outside, healthy, community health, and environmental health, and mental health. As somebody said, bicycling makes everything better. So thank you for listening, and it's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Yes, thank you all for listening. This has been my interview with Barry Carroll, so I think we're all done. Thanks for watching.
You're welcome. Glad to do it.